The 2012 Worlds is a story unto its own, and it really started 6 years before the event. Bill Jacobson and I had been running events in Charlotte. The PDGA actually contacted us because the next year they didn't have a place for Worlds yet, and they wanted to know if we wanted to run a Pro Worlds in Charlotte. And you don't make money on pro events. So we thought, what about an AM tournament? What about AM Worlds? Well, AM Worlds was bidded out for a couple of years. And Bill and I were sitting on the back porch, and I said, you know, right now we have 5 courses in Charlotte, and we have a great relationship with Park and Rec due to the groundwork Alan Beaver had laid for us. And I said, you know, what if we offered to do a combined Worlds and met with Park and Rec and got them on board and use that as an impetus to build as many courses as we can? And he was like, I think that could be an interesting idea. So we met with Stan and the board. Of course, they were into it. Then we actually went down to meet with Harold. He said, well, why are you talking to me? I said, well, honestly, Harold, because if we're going to try to build 8 to 12 courses over the next 4 to 6 years, we're not going to be able to afford to pay for baskets. And Harold gave us an opportunity to have an open invoice, interest-free on baskets until we could get it paid off. And then we met with Park and Rec. Stan and I sat down and took a map, and we made this big blueprint map sheet that had all the parks in Charlotte on it. We circled where there were parks, where we wanted to be parks, where can we put courses. So we go to this meeting, we pull our map out. And they're looking, this is pretty good. And Mr. Gar just said, pull our map out. And he overlaid their map and started saying, you can put one here, and you can put one here, and you can put one here. And we were like, wow, some places we never thought of, some properties that had just been purchased that weren't even parks yet. So that started the whole thing.
2012 was historic, not only because it was the largest world championship ever, but it was the last time that a professional and amateur Worlds ever took place in the same place. And that's from both logistics and the staff that event took. There's just so few places that not only have the quantity of courses to host that many people, but the quality as well. And Charlotte is one of those few places, so that's how they were able to pull that off.
In bidding for the Worlds, the process is you go to a board meeting in Augusta, and the next year was Northern Indiana, Lemon Lake. And we watched Lemon Lake do their presentation. They gave them some suggestions about what to do and how to do it. We did our presentation. We were working with our Convention and Visitors Bureau. Tim Morgan was with them at the time, and he helped put a PowerPoint presentation for us. We got done, and they had no questions. They said, you got it. We thought they were going to put us off to the next meeting for suggestions. We were kind of draw dropped that we got it. And it was on like Donkey Kong.
To me, that Worlds really was one of the pinnacle moments in our sport in terms of proof of growth. Imagine something being so big that they say, we can't ever do this again. And that's what that 2012 Worlds was. This was so big, no one should ever do this again because it's just so crazy. And for that to happen in North Carolina, I mean, that changed the sport. That completely changed how the PDGA accepts bids. They won't even let you try to bid on a Pro-Am Worlds anymore, and it's solely because of the amount of people that 2012 had.
It ended up that we built 9.5 courses in 4.5 years. It was a long, tenuous process, and it was a true group effort. Stan was the man. I mean, Stan was one of those people that would get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he would go to work and work till 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, and would spend the rest of the day working on disc golf courses. As many hours as I put in, he put half again, if not double. We had people all over town. We actually had to kind of pair off some of the course design and development to other folks. Craig Whitney and Chris Pacerno did R.L. Smith. Ralph Vickers and Rob Kelly did Idlewild Park. I did the design and the development at Wingate with Tom Usselman, helped me out tremendously out there. Bailey Road was kind of a group effort. That's when Mark Huether started getting involved, and Mark has kind of run with the ball since Stan and I have stepped back from doing stuff currently with the club.
If it wasn't for that bid, Charlotte wouldn't be what it is today. I was lucky enough to be involved in designing 2 of the courses and pretty much working on every single one of those 10 courses. To be able to play in that event after 3 years of just really hard work by a dedicated group of people was really fun. Especially since leading up to Worlds, I knew that I should probably play in events that were that caliber, and went to the World Championships in 2011 in Rochester, New York. Played Bowling Green in 2012. The World Championships was really fun to host all the people that I had met over those 2 years of traveling and playing on courses that, I helped build or saw built or designed.
What I really remember was just the chaos that many people in one place caused. And the beauty in that was 15 years before that, for us as a sport to think that something in disc golf could be too big. It was a beautiful consequence of this, and really a statement of where our sport had gone from. We went from people showing up on Saturday mornings at tournaments and just walking up and registering to complete chaos because we have so many people at a world championship.
The logistics of an event like that, it's a lot. All the different angles and aspects between players, parties, and meetings, and feeding people. And when you're playing 14 courses at one time, water coolers, staff lunches, banners, where do you need porta-johns, where do you need tents? We had handfuls of spreadsheets set up to figure out exactly where stuff went and when and how and who, just all the details.
The other thing is that that's really where Paul Macbeth became Big Beast. That was his first of the 4 in a row. At the time, for Paul to win 4 in a row in an era where nobody's ever won 4 except Kenny, and no one's ever won 3 in a row except Kenny, and that all started in Charlotte. I marshaled the final group of that World Championships, which was Paul Macbeth, Ricky Wysocki, Will Schustrick, and then Michael Johansson finished 4th that year. Ricky Wysocki had won a major the year before. The PDGA Championship was a 1-year major, but he finished 2nd in the World Championships, and that was Ricky Wysocki's kind of really big opening to the disc golf world. And that really not only started Paul Macbeth's kind of dynasty and the McBeast run that we call him, but it really started the whole Paul Macbeth versus Ricky Wysocki. It started in Charlotte. It probably started, years before in tour. That's where on the major scale it was really Paul versus Ricky. And, for the last 6 years, that's the only 2 people who have won a world championship. Paul's 4 in a row and Ricky's last 2. And it's just been Paul and Ricky, Paul and Ricky, Paul and Ricky. So yeah, that was the birth of McBeast, and that was the birth of Paul versus Ricky.
That was the 3rd Worlds in Charlotte. And I think it really instilled a lot of folks in North Carolina to try to up the bar and try to build more courses and get more done. I think also that the 2012 Worlds helped encourage other clubs in North Carolina to try to grow, to do more, to run more tournaments, to try to get their membership up, and to try to really promote the sport of disc golf in their communities as well.